Yes, yes. Morning, morning. Welcome to another heavyweight bass live stream. My name is Klaus Heavyweight Hill. This morning we're going to be listening to some tracks. Basically, I thought I'd offer some advice, listen to some of the heavyweight bass group members' tracks, and anybody else in other groups that I'm a member of that I've posted up and blog readers. So, if you've got a track that you want me to listen to, send me a Dropbox link. I want a full WAV. Send it to me on Facebook. Send me a PM, and I'll give it a listen. Hold on, I've just got to reply. A few people send me a message. Give me a sec. All right. So yeah, as I said, send me the tracks. You can. If you're a heavyweight bass group member, you can just send me a direct message on there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just send me. Oh, just hit me up on Facebook. Send me the tracks, and I'll have a listen. First track up is Democracy. I never know how to say it. How do I say it, Demo? Or you can't even say it. This is one of our group members, so it's Democracy. Democracy. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'll post it up in the chat. So this is Panau Chameleon. This is his Psytrance bootleg. Well, that was the first track. Demo. This is a really solid mix. I mean, it's really loud, and you could probably pull it back a little bit. I mean, I know everybody wants to be loud, but you know that's really loud, and it's squashing the top a little bit. So I think if you were just to pull it back, it would open up the top end a little bit more. But also, my suggestion, it's a little bit of air. You know, I don't know, 16K, something like that. Open it up, maybe 20K. Open up that top end a little bit. Yeah, like 13 to 16K, something like that. Open up that top end a little bit more. Also, the snare's a little bit quiet. Other than that, it's a really nice mix, really tight. You could look at, you've got quite a lot of low energy in the sides. If you have a look, the blue bit down here, the sides, a bit of low. Probably get rid of that. That will give you a little bit more headroom, make it a bit tighter, and open it up a little bit more. But yeah, look, just some nice levels. It's just some level changes. I'm struggling to hear the clap. That could probably come up a little bit, make it a little bit more punchy. I just think it's too loud. Like, I know the music is about that. You know, I understand this is what I do for a living. I know people want to go, but it feels like it's just being pushed too hard. I mean, if you just came back a little bit, I think it would just be better on the top end. Alright, I've got another track to go. So that's really good. Demo is solid mix. Just a few things. Open up top end a bit more. Also, the drums sound really heavily compressed as well. And I know that's part of the Psytrance sound. But I think the kick might be nice if it wasn't so compressed. It's quite clicky. That's just a personal thing. Right, let's get the next track in. Yeah, look at all that low end energy in the sides. You could clear that out, and it would make it sound tighter in the low end. I've got another track. Let's stick it in. Okay, this track is called Kong, and it is from Vladimir. Let's have a listen to this. That was cool. Vladimir. It's loud. Again, I don't know if you can hear it, but like you've gone so loud that the bass is distorting on the edges. It's crackling. Um, Probably no need to go that loud. Hold on. I'll be back in a second. Just a buzzer. Sorry about that. That's Monday morning couriers for you, delivering Christmas presents for my mum in England for the kids. All right, so Vlad, it's distorting. So you've gone so loud. The bass on the edges. I don't know if you can hear it on your monitoring, but I hear it really clearly here. As well, same with this one. A little bit of top end. Yeah, you see, you've got a little bit of a dip out here from like 7k up. And also look, it's a little bit of like a little bit of mid-range, bit of 1k or something to open it up. But other than that, it sounds really nice. A little bit kind of low end energy needs to be tightened up. I would tighten up the kick in the bass. Maybe like I've cut the side information there, so maybe I would go back into the mix and look at some of the low end energy in some of the stuff. Tighten it up. Kick could probably do with like tightening up as well, along with the bass. It's quite boomy. But other than that, it's solid. My main complaint is that it's too loud because it's distorting. I don't care if you want to go that loud and it's clean. The bass is crackling at the edges, and I can hear it very clearly. So it's that, but that's distorting on the edges. You can hear it, and the kick is distorting a little bit as well. All right, let's have a listen to the next one. There's a theme here. It's the top end, so I'm wondering whether you guys, it's your monitoring situation where you're struggling with the top end as well. You know, but both of those tracks there could do with sort of a lift from 8k up. You know. Getting the next track. Why are you sending MP3s, guys? No MP3s, all right? Just full WAVs. There's no point in sending me MP3s, all right? So, Galantis, True Feeling. I'm not going to listen to it. Send me a full WAV. That was that Dave? Dave. Yeah, full WAVs, mate. There's no point sending me MP3. You've now converted it. I want to hear the tracks properly, not with a crappy MP3 conversion on them. So, send me again. All right, I'm a notcher, squish. So this is you, Jack? Yeah, Jack Murray. Let's have a listen to this. All right, I'll start from the beginning. Alright, that's I'm Notcher. Squish, is it? Squish. That's Jack Murray. Jack, check your stuff in mono. I don't know if you can hear like let me just switch to mono here. Do you hear how the stuff is disappearing to the back of the mix a little bit? You need to sort out your some mono compatibility. That's stereo. that's disappearing right to the back of the mix. So that's would be one of the first things that I'd be looking at. Is kind of trying to make sure that you got your mono compatibility, sorting out any phase issues with that. That's dropping right to the back. And I know on club systems it's going to be loud, so you know you might hear it, but that to me sounds like it's dropping back too much, and that will be struggling. You'll struggle to hear that on a mono club sound system. I think you need a little bit more punch to your drums, a little bit snappier. There's not enough attack on the snare, so I'd be looking at like trying to make like the clap and the snare a little bit punchier on the front. Also the kick. Yeah, like the front of that clap and the snare that you're using is quite it's quite flat. There's no little snap to it. So I'd try having a play with a transient designer, bringing a little bit of snap to the front or some compression, or adding something else to it, adding a snare with a little bit more snap to the front. That will help it stand out. Because at the moment, like overall, like the balance of the mix sounds alright, but I'm just struggling to kind of hear the drums and stuff through everything else. So I'd be looking at the snap of the drums would be the first thing. It's also quite muddy down in that low mid. So I'm just giving you stuff that you can help you to fix the mix a little bit, because generally, like, you know, from a lot of the stuff that I get sent to listen to, this is pretty good as well. You know, compared to a lot of the stuff that I get sent, this is just trying to help you improve what you got. It's a little bit muddy down in the low mid area, so I'd try and clear that up. I mean, if I was mastering that, I'd take a little dip out from somewhere between 180 200, and that will open it up, get rid of a little bit of the mud. But you can do that by going in and cleaning up the parts a bit. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at. A little bit more snap to the drums. Looking at the mono compatibility, because that lead, that doo 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 doo, just disappears right to the back of the mix. Let's have a quick go again. Again, as well, you've got a lot of really a lot of energy in the low end of the side of the side information as well. So I'd look at cleaning that up, because that will help with clarity and make things a bit tighter as well. It's cool though, dude. Like, you know, it's about just improving on the sounds that you've got. I think it's quite busy. I think the kick is quite busy. I'm not a fan of that personally. But then again, I don't know. I'm not listening to this sort of stuff, you know, every day. So that's just like from a personal aspect. The busyness of the kick just kind of puts me off a little bit. Yeah, it's cool. Like the snap of the drums is the first thing. Snap of the drums. Like I want to hear that, you know, snare having a bit of thud to it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. All right. Downloading some other stuff that people have sent. I hope that helps, Jack. Hope that helps. Also, like, there's a theme with all these tracks. You're all going really fucking loud. Now that's fine. Like I do that for a lot of my clients as well. But don't go loud for sacrificing. You know, if it's gonna fuck your tune up, then, you know, pulling it back a little bit is the wiser choice. You know. you know, are you slamming it too much? Just like the Kong track, you know, Vladimir's track, where it was just a little bit too much. I feel also like Notcher as well is like just I don't know. If some of the mix elements could be fixed a little bit, it wouldn't sound. I don't know. It's because because you're slamming it so hard with the limiter, it's pushing down on those claps and stuff as well. It's making it sound very squashed. And I know when you get loud like that, everything sounds squashed. But there's like, you know, there's ways of bringing stuff up loud and still kind of keeping it punchy. And I think a lot of your punch is being lost on Notcher because it's being pushed as well, really loud. So yeah, I don't know. To have a Jack have a fix of those things that I suggested, and then try pulling it back. You know, not so loud, basically. Once you get up to that level, you know, pulling it back a dB is not really going to make much difference. But if it helps, like helps ease off on distortion and stuff, it'll be better. Jeff Vader. pretty solid. One of the things with this kind of like, deeper house, tech house, and whatever else we would do, it's like arrangement, transition. So you've got like however long, 8 minutes of this track, and it's all about the groove. And the problem is that the groove you've got is really nice, but you've got no transitions, and it kind of gets a little bit like boring after a while. I mean that there wasn't any bits where it made me go, oh, okay, do you know what I mean? It grooved. So I think you need to work on transitions. Would be like a big thing, getting some transition from sections a little bit more interesting, and just gentle lifts, even if it's sort of some white noisy effects or lift risers or something into sections. I think you're not taking enough elements in and out. This is just it's a pure arrangement because the mix is pretty nice. I think you're lacking some top end, and you're also lacking some kind of mid range as well. And I also think the drums could be especially the clap could be a bit snappier. It's just not. The front of it is very dull because it needs a bit more attack. And I think it could be just snappier and probably tighter as well. Like the drums just could be tighter. But my main criticism is like arrangement. Yeah, I've just added like a dB at 2.2k or something, and it's lifted the clap up straight away. The front of it's got a little bit more attack, so instantly it's kind of giving the drums a little bit more punch and a little bit of top end as well. Every track so far has been missing top end. It's interesting. So you don't want to go crazy with the top end, but it's you want that air and that lift there as well. It's arrangement, Jeff. That's the thing that stands out to me straight away. Just needs a little bit more. It just doesn't, there's those sections, it just doesn't build up enough. And I know it's not supposed to be like these big room stuff, but it's about like transitions, Oh, if you're hearing bleeping, that's just Facebook messages coming. I don't know how to switch that off on this. Yeah, it's basically songwriting, Jeff. He just sent me a message. Just arrangement, just transitions, making stuff a little bit more interesting. Maybe not having the hats playing so often, stripping it back a little bit more, and then bringing the hats back in your transition section. I don't know, a little bit more kind of risers. I don't know. After like 2 minutes, I was like, oh, it just hasn't gone anywhere. Do you know what I mean? That's and it's got a cool bass line, and the drums are cool, and the groove it all. But like, yeah, after 2 minutes, it's just not lifting anywhere. So that's the main thing. Maybe the strings came in a bit too early, and you could have just rolled with the bass and bring in the strings a bit later on. So that's the lift there. As I said, I know it's not supposed to be some big room hands in the air crazy bit, but yeah, you need those moments. So it's arrangement. Tighten up the low end as well. It's a bit muddy in the low mids, so like cleaning things up. But if you see that, I'll give that little boost. Just giving that that little EQ boost at 2.1k has lifted the snare, giving it a little bit of a snap at the front. So I'd go back in and do that on the snare itself, not over the whole track, and just make the clapper snare be a little bit more punchy. All right. It's like all those arpeggiated bits and stuff. They come in so early. It's like you've heard it all, and now you're not doing anything else. You know what I mean? Just needs to be like, this stuff is all about like dropping it down minimal and building it all back up, and kind of a little bit more dramatic, and that's transitions. So it's just, even if it's just like a white noise splash on the transition when you turn around, or taking some hats out, taking out the shakers and letting it roll for like 16 and then bringing them back in with an effect or something, just to make it interesting. That's my biggest criticism, basically. But like I do loads of like sort of deep house and stuff like that, and in general, from a mix perspective, it's pretty good. You know what I mean? Just a few things, lifting up the drums, a bit more top end. Probably look at the sides as well. Let me listen to it in mono. Yes, it's pretty good mono compatibility there. I would look at making the side information a bit wider, or like lifting it up so that those pads and stuff are just a little bit up, just a little bit louder in the mix. For me, it's that snare, it's that little EQ boost I've done has just lifted the clap straight away. It's made a big difference. So I'll be trying to raise that up. All right, let me hold on. I've got some more tracks. Let me just find the tracks. Alright, give me a sec, just downloading the next one. Alright, this next track is Dominic Dow, Leave, another heavyweight bass group member. Dom, you got a massive peak. You see the big, look at span. 600 hertz, huge peak. You want to try and rein that in a little bit. Generally, again, just top end. You know, look, when you're mixing and stuff, you want to try and get, you're aiming for like an even image. You know, avoiding big peaks and big troughs. If you've got big peaks and big troughs, you need to kind of fill those out. You want to, you know, don't be like trying to add loads to fill out those things. But they're holes in the mix that you want to, you know, potentially try and fill out. You got this big peak at 700. It's piercing as well. It's a bit harsh. I'd be looking to try and control that a little bit. Whether it's not really a level thing, it could be just the EQ on each of the individual parts that are filling up that area. Look for what's the resonancy bits, the bits that are piercing, trying to tidy those up. Maybe a little bit of compression on stuff. Again, you're missing the top end as well. Just a little bit of sparkle, a bit flat and lifeless up there. But in general, the arrangement's cool. But like, again, it's like, it doesn't go anywhere after that first bit, if you know what I mean. That's my biggest issue is it kind of gets going really quickly and then doesn't really do much more, if you know what I mean, in the second half of the track. When it gets going, it's great, but it doesn't really do much different after that, and that's where I'd look at on the arrangement, if that makes sense, Dom. Let me listen to it in mono. Oh, I don't know. Also, the kick's distorting, and I don't know whether that's yeah, multi-band compression or dynamic EQ to rein in that area. Yeah, I mean you can, but why? You don't want to stick it over the whole track going and fix it on the individual parts. So you know, instead of sticking it over the whole mix. As someone just commented. Let me listen to it in mono. Oh, what I was saying, the kick's distorting. I don't know if the kick is distorted as for sound, whether that's the sound of it, or whether you've you've gone too loud. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Everybody wants to go loud because that's what dance music is. But if it compromises the overall sound of your track, then you might as well pull it back so that you've not got it. There's no point going up there. Or if you are going to do it, go back in and fix elements in the mix that are breaking up. So if the kick's distorting at that level, pull the kick back a little bit. And then you should be able to get up to the you know, your target RMS or LUFS, whatever it is you're aiming at. But if you're just sticking the limiter on and trying to, you know, get up to the level, yeah. So, but see, Dom, the wider distorted kick is distorting even more on the edges, and it's not doing it on every single kick. So it has to be the limiter, because like I'm listening and I can hear it. I can hear the distortion of the kick that's on it, and then a few other kicks. There's more, you know what I mean? Whereas the limiter is distorting, and it's adding more distortion, and that's because you've just gone too loud, or you need to kind of rebalance the mix again. Maybe the kick's a little bit too loud. But top end. Let me listen in mono. So yeah, I'd look at, you got quite a bit of low end in some of the side information as well. So I don't do it on the master bus, but go in on some of those other sounds and have a look and see what you can, if you can get rid of some of the low end in some of those other sounds, and it will make it sound a bit tighter. You know, actually I've just put a low high pass filter on there on the side information, and it's tightened up the low end and made it a little bit more focused. Yeah, and the top end, I've just added a shelf just to, you know, give you an idea, but you're lacking some top end. otherwise it's cool. Like, your stuff is a massive improvement from, you know, stuff that I heard from you, you know, 12 months ago and 18 months ago. So don't take it all personally. I'm trying to be like, you know, not blow smoke up anybody's ass and give you some good constructive feedback. Arrangement, I think the last two, Jeff Vader's one and your one, I think it's arrangement is the biggest thing. I could be wrong. You know, I listen to so much different styles in my work that I don't listen to, like, just sort of, you know, this sort of stuff every day. You know what I mean? I'm listening to, like, 1 minute I'll be on a house track, next minute I'll be on drum and bass. So I'm no expert, but for me, arrangement wise, it's like you shot your load really early and then it doesn't go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. All right, I'm gonna listen to the next one. Let me just download. You see that little lift at the top end, Dom? Just gives it a little bit more sparkle. As I said, all this stuff I'm doing, don't do it on the master bus. Go into the mix and do it. You know, go in there and work on those areas that are filling that high end. You know, add a little bit of air to, like, the hats and the top part of the leads, etc., etc. Don't be lazy and just do it on the master bus. And that way you get better control over it. But yeah, it needs a little bit of sparkle up there and control the mid range. Right, next one is. Hypophoria, Behave, Cocky remix. Everyone, let's have a listen.
Unexplained doubt. Yes, I'm welcome and I need it now. Nothing set in stone, but I could do without. It's raining on my thoughts when I need to get out. Promise to change. Whether bad or worse, it won't be in vain. Forever so long a time to avoid me to brave. Believing this heart without a party wave. I'm not the
Vocal's not loud enough. struggle to hear the vocal. Like I like that the claps are really punchy. I like the snap. I would work on the vocal needs to come up, or it just needs some like parallel compression behind it, and just to give it a little bit of weight and a little bit more sparkle in the top end. Track's quite flat as well. You've got this kind of spiky bit. You know, 8K, but above that you could probably do with a little lift. So I would, you know, maybe, I don't know, it's mixed balance. I think a lot of it is mixed balance. I know you said the track is not finished, so yeah, I'd be looking at bringing the vocal up, sorting out the drums in the second drop, because that's just all over the place. Because they're way too loud. Vocals need to come up. Doesn't feel glued yet. Doesn't feel like it's cohesive, or you know, the track needs to be tighter, and it's just a little bit, you know. I like the ideas. I like where you're going with it, but right now I can hear it's still, you know, it's just not finished. You know what I mean? Which is what you told me. So it's really hard to kind of, yeah, like vocals need to come up. The riffs, the leady part, the synth parts need to come up. The drums kind of sound alright. The bass is sitting alright. Probably got a lot of energy in. Got a lot of energy, like 140 to 160 as well. You could probably tighten that up, and it will just help that clap part kind of punch through as well. And also because there's a load of lower end energy, you know, and the rest of the track is like lower in level above it, like the vocals and the leads. It's, you know, it's kind of making the mix sound wonky. So yeah. But I like where you're going with it. I like the vocal as well. She's got a really, really good voice. The vocal and the general arrangement is really good. So, yeah, just keep working on it. Definitely bring the vocal up, though. All right, hold on. I'm going to got some more tracks then, so... Alright, so this is Thought Crime. This is from who sent this? Lachlan Marsh. Alright. Okay, I'm going to stop it now. I can't tell if it's supposed to sound as distorted as that, or you've just pushed it so hard. Like, so, who sent me this one? Is Lachlan. Mate, like, is that supposed to be distorted like that? Can you hear that it's distorted like that? Because if not, you've pushed it so fucking hard with the limiter. It's really distorted. So
Control.
to like. Honestly, I can't tell. I think you're not doing yourself any favors by going so loud. I think you've got like distortion on the pads and the other elements, and then you're going really fucking hard with a limiter, and it's just like making it even more kind of distorted and muddy. But I mean, I like the vibe that you've got going. I just think it's just there's too much distortion going on in there, and it's kind of muddying up the mix and making it a bit harsh. Like some of those pads in the background, you want to hear those. You want to hear them without distortion, you know, without distorting or whatever effects you've got on them. I know it's hard for me to tell. As I said, I can't work out whether you've just limited it too hard or whether that's like the distortions on the parts. But the vibe you've got going is cool. Christian just said it in the thing. Almost sounds like they've whacked a limiter on top of a limiter on the final mix. It's a shame because it does sound like one of the more refreshing tracks. Absolutely, 100%. The vibe on it all. I mean, it's not the most original down tempo thing because it's, you know, it's, if you're going to write that stuff, it is, you know, it's a tried and tested thing, isn't it? I like the vibe, but like I'm struggling to work out what, you know, whether it's limited too hard or whether that's the vibe. And if that's the vibe you've gone with the track, rein it in, man. Pull some of that back. You don't want that distortion too much. Let me just send him a message. Just hold on. Is this someone from one of the other groups? Right, I'm sending you a message, Lachlan, if you're there. I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know if he's here. It's a shame because I don't really want to. I don't want to make comments on it now because it's like it's hard for me to. My comments are is if this is limiting, rein that back, and if it's not, and that's on the parts, rein it back, because like the vibe of the track is cool. All right, I've sent him a message. I'm not going to listen to that anymore because I can't work out what it is that's going on. That second half is like, doesn't sound as distorted, but it's quite cold sounding. The reverbs you're using on it are not as warm. Hold on, here he is. All right. Let me send him. Give me a sec. I'm going to send him a message. All right, I just, like if you're listening, Lachlan. All right. Let's see if he joins the chat. All right, I'm just waiting. Sorry, guys. It's kind of interesting because it's kind of out of all the tracks we've been sent today because everyone's just, you know, it's kind of just a different vibe. So it's interesting to see what's going on with it. I'm going to download another track from someone else as well. What else have we got? Homemade Dynamite. Have we done that one? No, hold on. Let me find that one. Homemade Dynamite. Okay, let's put that in. See what? I'm going to wait and see. Here we go. Okay. Right, it's supposed to be distorted. That's what Lachlan's saying. All right, Lachlan, if you're listening or you're listening back later on, it's too much. It's too much. It's like, yeah, like it's not like if you're going to listen to that on like PC speakers, earbuds, and everything else, that's just going to sound fucking distorted, basically. So I would look at reining it in. definitely. It's got a good vibe to it. You need to work on the clarity. You need to work on the clarity of the mix a little bit. But this beginning bit, I think you got too much distortion on too many elements. You know, try taking some of this distortion off of like some of the background elements. There's like a belly thing that do in the background. That sounds like it's got distortion on it as well. Like take it off so you've still got some clarity going. It sounds like maybe this. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of distortion going on a lot of elements. I don't think you need as much. And then obviously because you're pushing it quite hard with the limiter, that just enhances it as well. So I would work on that. Can't hear the vocal as well, struggling to hear the vocal, so you might, you need to kind of work on that as well. It's ruining your track, mate. You've got a really good vibe. It's like, and there's that element there where those high string that dun, dun, comes in, and it's just all distorted. There's just so much distortion. Just clean it up a little bit. Just so like have some distortion on a few key elements and have everything else nice and clean. Have the lift, and that'll be cool. It's a great vibe. I'm into what you're doing. It's you know, it's a bit different. I like it. So, but just work on the distortion. I'm not going to listen to it now because like I'm just struggling to hear. You know, so many of the elements. So we're going to move on. That's my feedback. Less distortion. Sending me a version without the distortion later on. I think it's cool. Like where you're going.
We like to think we have some form of control still.
Do some de-essing on the vocal as well. Do you hear the harsh T? A bit of resonancy as well. And clean up some of the mid-range, low-mid. It's muddy in the track up. So, alright, so this one is Homemade Dynamite. Tonsu remix.
A couple rebel Top Gun pilots flying with nowhere to be. Don't know you super well, but I think that you might be the same as me. Behave abnormally. Let's let things come out of the woodwork. I give you my best, I tell you all my best lies. Yeah, awesome, right? So let's let things come out of the woodwork. I give you my best, I tell you all my best lies. See me rolling, showing someone else love, dancing with our shoes off. No, I think you're awesome, right?
kick. I like it's really blocky. Like, you know, it's just got this kind of blocky wooden block kind of sound to it. Not a fan on it. I like solid firm kicks. So that puts me off straight away. Is because it's just got this kind of, you know, as if it's I don't know. It's got this, I don't know. It's like a wooden block. Do you know what I mean? It's not a kick. So that's my first comment. I like the arrangement that you're doing, and like you're doing the vocal, and it sounds good. But I think your reverbs are really cold on all your synth parts, like your piano. You need to find like warmer. They just sound really cold. And they make your pianos and stuff sound hollow, if that makes sense. So I'd be looking for like warmer rooms to use. Who sent me this track? Sent me this. Was that you, Tim? Sent me this track. Yeah, is that Tim? Is this yours? Is this you? Is this who am I talking to for this? Let me have a look. No, this is no this one. No, this one. Oh no, Tim, you didn't send me this one. Yours is Liquid Stranger. Who sent me this one? Homemade Dynamite. Yeah, look, it's yeah, Liquid Strange. Yeah, I thought. Sorry, I was just downloaded that at the same time. Who sent me this? Ah, Dave Jonker. Dave, it's really muddy, and you just can't. You know, I think you've just got like a lot of verbs going on, and they're not clear. And they're very cold sounding, very brittle. The kick, it's just that it's got that blocky sound to it. You just want something that's firmer. And you just can't distinguish between the elements. I'm really struggling to like hear what's going on. It's like everything's kind of just like loud. You know what I mean? I'd reassess the reverbs being used. Try and look for something a bit warmer. Maybe not so much reverbs on everything. Sounds like there's a lot of verb on all the parts.
We'll end up painted on the walls, red and chrome, all the broken glass sparkling. I guess we're partying, so let's let things come out of the woodwork. I give you my best, I tell you all my best lies. See me rolling, showing someone else love. Hands under your t-shirt, though I think you're awesome, right?
Like the actual arrangement that you're doing and what you're trying to do is cool, but just the sounds, your sound choice, I think is the biggest thing on that one. It's going to be sound. Oh, it's right. I produced the mix in a few days, but I thought I did okay. Dave, I'm not trying to have a go. I'm trying to give you some positive feedback. So, yeah, I like the arrangement that you've done musically. I just think some of the elements you've chosen are they're cold. Do you know, they're brittle sounding. The reverbs aren't warm enough. You want to try and use some warmer reverbs or like warmer sounds if you're using soft synths and that's the sound that's already on them. But I like what you've done with it, the actual arrangement and stuff. I like, but there's just elements. It's like the sound choice, I think, in that arrangement is where it's letting it down. It's very muddy as well. It needs to be cleaned up. You know, get in there with your band pass EQs, clean up. You know, get rid of the unwanted low end, get rid of some unwanted top end, clear out some resonance, clear out some of the verbs. I would get rid of the reverbs altogether and look for some warmer ones. I think that will go a long way to helping you get some better clarity. And you got a lot of energy at like 3 to 4K as well. It's quite like it's very fatiguing on the ears. So I'd look at look in that area on like the piano and stuff like that. It helps if you can get that under control a little bit, so it's not so fatiguing. When that's on, when that's playing, I'm like that area. It's kind of it's piercing on the ears. You don't need to cut loads of it out, but it's sort of rein it in a little bit. But as I said, the biggest thing is like it's the brittle sounding reverbs. They're cold, if that makes sense. different kick as well. I'll definitely look at a different kick. I'm not a fan of that like blocky kind of sound on a kick. Liquid Strange. Oh man, Tim, send me don't send me MP3s. Send me full web files. Let me have a look what else is there. We'll just hang on because I was going to listen to this Tim, see if you send another version. Any more? Alright, I'll hang on for like a few more minutes, let people get their WAVs uploaded. And then if not, I'm going to call it a day. We'll do it again in another couple of weeks. Anybody else? Have I missed anything else? Oh, here we go. Scotty Miller has just sent me a track. Give me a sec. Let's download that. Scotty, do you see that little shelf? Kind of, you need to lift that, you know, 2.5K up, just to lift it up. You've got this huge fucking low end. So you want to lift up that, you know, lift up the top end a little bit. Help you balance it out a little bit. Trough as well, about 600, but that, you could fill that out a little bit. It'll make it sound fuller. Yeah, it's cool. Really huge big end, bottom end. I try and tighten that up a little bit. try some high pass filtering, but like 48 dB filter slope. Get it really tight. See how it sounds. Use like linear phase if you're getting a little bit of ringing on it or something. Tighten up that kick in the bass. It's really big down there. Even maybe try bussing the kick and the bass together and seeing if you can get them sitting a bit better. I like the weight of it, but it is really fucking, you know, bass heavy. Like if I was mastering that as a stereo file, I'd be like tightening it up and I'd be taking a little cut out of there and, you know, trying making it all sound tighter and punchier and lifting the top end. So, you know, you go back in and you find the elements that you can, you know, find the elements to do that too. Yeah, you know, just a little bit of quick EQ there's lifted all those elements up, so you can go in there and pick the, you know, the ones you want to turn up and the ones you want to leave the same. Let me listen to it in mono. Just Dave, no problem, man. Like it's like the criticism I'm trying to give you should hopefully help you improve. I think your thing is sound choice and just being able to hear what's what. I think that's where you'll be improved. So hopefully the feedback I give you will be better. The colder reverb, you've got to watch that. It's one of those things that a lot of people do. I hope it makes sense, like the brittle sounding and trying to find something a little bit warmer. Things like Valhalla is a really good reverb to try. They're like, you know, they're sort of brittle and digital sounding, the ones you use. So you want to try and find a room verb that's a bit warmer. So Valhalla's a good place to be looking at. But I hope that the feedback helped you. Scotty, yeah, lift up the top end. It's just like really fucking huge big end. You need to lift up the high end in the track. Other than that, it's like it's tight. Try and tighten up the low end a little bit as well. It will sound better with, like, you know, a bit more of a open top end to it. It will balance out that big low end. I'd probably try and lift that vocal up a little bit as well. Gets a little bit lost. Maybe add a little bit more sparkle to the top end. Because it's a low vocal in tone, her voice, so you might just, you know, you might want to open it up a little bit more. Alright, well, I'm going to call it a day. It's 11:30. Been up for this, well, how long? Been an hour and a half. So we'll do this again in a couple of weeks. We'll listen to some group members' tracks and stuff. For those of you that sent tracks, thanks very much. I hope that helped. And we'll be back next week. Take care. Hope you all have a good week. Don't do anything silly. Speak soon.